configured with IP address. You can see that, and I also have another interface right there. I've configured with IP address, and description and duplexes are all set right there. So that is one thing. Okay. So my interface is up and it's running. So I want to see, so I can use show IP interface FA0/0. I want to see the IP configuration and all other criteria that are supposed to be. So I can see here that the IP address is right here. So that is the broadcast IP address for networks. So that's my IP address and it's running. You can see it's telling me that the interface is up and the line protocol is up. So if you want to just see a simpler one, you can just use show IP interface brief command, and this will show you all the interfaces that are available and their current status. So you can see that fast Ethernet 0/0 is up and the interface is up, line protocol is right up here. So everything is good. Now I want to see if my router knows this network, so I can use show IP route. Okay, that is the command that you can use to see your routing table. So when I use show IP route command, you can see that I am able to see this network, and it's telling me C code. C means that I learned this network directly, and then it's telling you that this network 192.168.0.0. We did not enter this, but the router says that the IP 192.168.0.1 that we have entered comes from this network, and that network is directly connected to FA0/0. So this is what you can do to interpret your routing table. So my routing table tells me that this is what I have, and this is exactly what I have, and that is what I am going to deal with right now. So in this scenario, we can say that if we have a PC right here, let me just add a PC quickly. Let's say I'm gonna have to add a PC right here also. Alright, so I'm gonna have to make it very quick. So I'm gonna use the automatic cable just to connect this switch to this PC right there. So this PC down here, I'm gonna have to give it an IP address. So I'll go to desktop IP configuration, and I'll give it 192.168.1.2. I said I'm going to give it the second value. So the default gateway will be the IP address that I've given to the router, 1.1. Alright, so that's good. And this other PC right here also, I'm going to have to do similar thing, but it is on a different network. That is zero network, 0/0 network. So 192.168.0.2 because I've already using one. So 192.168.0.1 is the default gateway because it's the IP address of the router right there. So when I do this, this PC should be able to ping the router. So I'm gonna have to go to terminal. Oh, not terminal. I'm gonna have to go to command prompt, and then I ping this address. Ping the default gateway first. You have to first ping the default gateway 1.0.1. Alright, so my default gateway is responding. I'm receiving a time to leave value of 255, but I have to explain something here. Now, this value decrement as far as the number of number of hops along the way. So if I have another router along the way, it would decrement 1. I have 2 routers, it would decrement by 2. I have another router added 3. If the packet has to transverse, that again, because it's going to be have -3 from this door. This number or this value decrements on a number of times based on the number of hops along the way to the destination. So I hope that is very clear for you guys. So now, what other address do I need to ping? Now I want to see if I can ping this other PC right here. So now look at this. Now when I ping that address 1.2, because 1.2 is the IP address there, see, I am going to have a delay. I'm going to have a lost packet. Okay, I'm going to have one lost packet or two, and then I'm going to see. Okay, so look at that. This one also is going to decrement, but now I have one packet that says timeout. I do not have 100% respond. I have one packet lost. That is 25% of my data was lost. My 25% of my percent of my packet got lost. Why was this? Is because my switch here received this packet or received this frame from the router right here, and then it has to float this because the first time the switch is receiving this frame from the router and it does not know the existence of this PC, so therefore it is going to float this frame to all the ports, and then the destination will have to respond from there. It will forward the packet. So during this process it takes longer because this has a time to live value. It cannot wait, so therefore one of the packet get lost. So I hope you understand this if you have it, if you come across it in any exam or whatever. Now I am going to add this network up. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can have remote networks available. Now I'm going to have to add a router. So I am using 2811 router. So I have one router added here, and I'm going to have to add 2 switches again. So in case you don't know, switches are right there. Let me take the switch again. I'm going to have to use that so I can just drop it again 2 times. Okay guys, so this router must have a link that is I have to shut it down and add this H with 2T value there. So because I do not know which one will be 0/0, so I'm gonna have to fill everything here 4 times. Alright, so I fill all the slots, all the empty slots are on. So I have to on this router back again. Alright, so I'm good. Now I have to connect this other router to this other router. So I'm gonna use this one. I'm going to use the serial interface or the serial cable. So I connect serial 0/0/0 here to this other serial 0/0/1. So I have 000 and I have 001 here. But it doesn't matter. If you want, you can have all of them as 000, no problems. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this. Use fast Ethernet 0/0 to fast Ethernet 0/1 and the switch. Similar situation here. I'm gonna use the same thing, 0/1 and 0/1. So the network that I'm gonna use here, it has to be me. So I'm gonna use a public class C IP address here. Normally I will use 209.165.200.0. So basically I'm going to use CIDR 30, not CIDR 24. I'm gonna have only 2 valid IP addresses, so I'm gonna use CIDR 30. So here I'm gonna use what address? Okay, let me just use here 10.10. Sorry, let me just use 10.000. CIDR 24. Right, so let me just use CIDR 24. Again, I'm gonna use 10.1.0.0 CIDR 24. Okay, so this should be good for my configuration. So this one is for the LAN, maybe let's say LAN D, LAN C and D. Let's just name them. And this is supposed to be LAN C, for instance. And this other side will be my LAN D, last one. Alright, it's very good for you to do some labelings because it allows you to remember things. So these 2 routers are going to share this network 209.165.200.0 right here. So I'm going to have to configure this other. Before I do that, I think I have to come to this other router to configure this link because it does not exist in my router. So I'm going to have to do this to go back to this other router and go back to the global configuration and type interface serial 0/0/0. So if you want, you can just put S000. So it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna have to put a description if I want. Otherwise, I just put IP address 209.165. Okay, 200.1. That's the first valid IP address, and the last valid IP address is 2. So 252 because I'm using CIDR 30, and I'm going to use a non shutdown. Now when I put this non shutdown, it